Hello and welcome. This is from the CBN. We bring to you weekly reports and expert analysis of the actions, policies and economic initiatives of the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN. I am William Isidada. As part of continued efforts to focus on strategies that can ensure more stable and sustainable inflows of foreign exchange into the economy, the CBN has announced the RT200 FX program, which stands for the race to $200 billion Forex repatriation. CBN Governor Mr. Godwin Emefiele, who announced the new initiative at the Bankers Committee Press Briefing in Abuja, noted that the RT200 Forex program is not a silver bullet to all the challenges in the export segment of the economy. Rather, it is a first step meant to ensure that the CBN is better able to carry out its mandate in an effective and efficient manner to preserve the nation's scarce resources and stability of the naira. Also, the concessionary interest rate of 5% on CBN intervention facilities has been extended till next year, March. We have details after the break. Stay with us. Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Mr. Godwin Emefiele, personally led the special press briefing of the Bankers Committee on Thursday in order to give updates on recent economic developments and provide factual updates about the positive outcomes of the various intervention programs introduced at the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic, as well as to announce the new initiative in Nigeria's foreign exchange market. Mr. Emefiele began by giving a contextual background to the decisions of the bank in striving to attain its mandate as set out in the CBN Act of 2007 in the face of daunting challenges.
Prior to the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic, the Nigerian economy was in a positive growth trajectory. We had witnessed 12 consecutive quarters of positive growth, along with significant foreign capital inflows into the country due to improved fundamentals of the Nigerian economy. Unfortunately, the onset of the pandemic caused unprecedented social and economic consequences across the world. The rapid spread of COVID, coupled with drastic measures taken by fiscal and monetary authorities to stabilize their respective economies all over the world, has certainly changed the world as we know it today. In Nigeria, its impact was evident through several channels. First, the virus constituted a challenge to public health given its contagious nature, and measures had to be taken to contain the spread of the virus. This included social distancing and movement restrictions, while efforts were taken to build the capacity of our healthcare institutions to respond adequately to the virus. On the economic front, we witnessed four major discernible outcomes, namely, first, there was a sharp deceleration and sometimes complete stoppage in global economic activities that significantly reduced the demand for and price of crude oil, Nigeria's main earner of US dollars. Second, given that no one knew the depth or duration of the pandemic, many foreign investors withdrew massive amounts of funds from emerging markets and reinvested them into safe havens such as the US Treasuries and gold. And thirdly, diaspora remittances fell significantly. This is understandable because to the extent that COVID-19 led to significant job losses in many advanced economies, diaspora remittances also suffered commensurate reduction in inflows into Nigeria. All these factors jointly explain the heightened pressure on the currencies of major emerging market countries, including Nigeria. The final challenge we faced as a country was major disruptions in global supply chains, as countries sought to ensure that they had sufficient essential materials for their local market relative to their export market. We witnessed countries like India, Vietnam, and China put in place restrictions on export of food and drug items. Expectedly, these difficulties led to a contraction of the GDP and an uptick in inflation in 2020, with inflation exacerbated by the increase in VAT rate, exchange rate adjustment, and seasonal food supply shocks due to the onset of the farming season and other structural bottlenecks. Faced with these challenges, the Central Bank of Nigeria had to contend with balancing the need to increase spending to support the economy with additional measures to prevent an undue spike in inflation and heightened pressure on our exchange rate. After a careful analysis, we decided to support growth by taking unprecedented measures to prevent the economy from going into a tailspin. Our first objective was to restore stability to the economy by providing assistance to individual households, SMEs, and businesses that had been severely affected by the pandemic as well as by the lockdown measures.
The CBN governor went ahead to highlight 8 of the various measures taken by the bank, with the total sum of the intervention facilities amounting to over 3 trillion naira to date. He said working with deposit money banks and other participating financial institutions in the country, the intervention loans have undoubtedly been one of the critical ingredients for Nigeria's economic recovery and employment generation.
Specifically, under the Anchor Borrowers program, we have disbursed 948 billion to 4.78 million smallholder farmers who cultivated 5.2 million hectares of farmlands across the country, thereby creating 12.5 million direct and indirect jobs. Under our targeted credit facility, which was meant to help households and businesses that suffer significant losses during the pandemic, we have disbursed 368.79 billion naira to 778,000 beneficiaries, comprising 648,052 households and about 130,000 SME businesses. We have also disbursed 1.45 trillion naira to 337 large real sector projects in agriculture, manufacturing, services, and mining under our real sector support facility. In healthcare, 122 major healthcare projects have been funded to the tune of 115.36 billion. These healthcare interventions went to 31 pharmaceutical and 91 hospital projects. These interventions helped to support acquisition of 59 magnetic resonance imaging scanners (MRI), 42 computer tomography (CT) scanners, and 4 oncology screening machines. For the AXMIS program, which caters for small and medium enterprises in the agribusiness space, a total of 134.63 billion naira has been released to 37,571 SME projects, out of which 67% were directly in agriculture-related projects, 22.5% were in services, while the balance were in fashion, IT, and related subsectors. Under the Nigerian Electricity Stabilization Facility, a total of 229 billion naira has been disbursed to 9 discos to help cover their financial obligation to upstream market participants. These interventions have helped in significantly improving liquidity in their ecosystem and increased electricity generation from 4,000 megawatts in 2020 to over 5,000 megawatts in 2021. The bank has also released 47.8 billion naira to 10 discos under the National Mass Metering Program for the procurement of 858,026 electricity meters. Because of these disbursements, the revenue collection for discos increased significantly to over 69 billion naira as of December 2021. It is important that I went through these numbers painstakingly to show that the problems we face as a nation do have solutions as long as we work objectively to understand them and dispassionately to solve them. It is obvious from the foregoing that the impact of these measures helps the country make the fastest recovery from recession ever recorded and change the trajectory of inflation to an 8-month downward spiral. These policies and measures also helped to a significant improvement in diaspora inflows from an average of $6 million per week in December 2020 to an average of over $100 million per week in January 2022.
Interest rates on CBN intervention facilities were expected to revert to 9% effective first day of next month, but the governor has declared that the rate will remain at 5% for another year. in view of the promising trajectory that has been established in economic growth and job creation. Coming to the new intervention, the RT200 Forex program, which is a set of policies, plans, and programs exclusively for non-oil exports that will lead to the attainment of the $200 billion repatriation goal over the next 3 to 5 years. It is divided into 5 key anchors. The anchors are 1. Value-adding export facility, 2. Non-oil commodities expansion facility, 3. Non-oil forex rebate scheme, 4. Dedicated non-oil export terminal, and 5. Biannual non-oil export summit, the first of which is being organized to hold during the first week of April.
Let me briefly describe each of these anchors. The value-adding export facility will provide concessionary and long-term funding for business people who are interested in expanding existing plants or building brand new ones for the sole purpose of adding significant value to our non-oil commodities before exporting same abroad. The second facility we announced is the non-oil commodities expansion facility. This facility will also be a concessionary facility designed to significantly boost local production of exportable commodities. This facility will be designed to ensure that expanded and new factories that are financed by the value-adding facility are not starved of inputs of raw commodities in their production cycle. A massive boost in the production of such commodities will also help dampen and moderate the prices of these commodities so that the expected increase in demand for them does not become a pressure point for aggregate prices in the market. Today, we are also announcing the introduction of the non-oil FX rebate scheme, a special local currency rebate scheme for non-oil exporters of semi-finished and finished produce who show verifiable evidence of export proceeds repatriation sold directly into the I&E window to boost liquidity in the market. Analogous to the Naira for Dollar scheme, which has helped boost remittances from only $6 million per week to over $100 million per week, we shall establish the modalities for granting a rebate for each dollar that non-oil export proceeds that an exporter sells into the market for the benefit of other FX users and not for funding their own operations. Although this rebate program is with immediate effect, the detailed guidelines of this scheme will be communicated latest next week. Our plan is to graduate the percentage of the rebates depending on the level of value addition into the product being exported and for which FX is repatriated into Nigeria. In recognition of the perennial problems of port congestion cited by the exporters as a major impediment to improved operations and foreign exchange earnings, we have designed a third anchor of the RT200 program, which is the construction and establishment of a dedicated non-oil export terminal. According to the African Center for Supply Chain Practitioners, Nigeria loses about $14.2 billion annually due to congestion at our ports. Paraphrasing from an article by the Financial Times in December 2020, the congestion has become so bad that while it costs $3,500 to ship a 40-feet container from China to Lagos, which is a distance of 22,000 kilometers, it costs $4,000 to move the same container from the port to mainland Lagos, a distance of only 12 kilometers. During our stakeholder engagements with the various segments of exporters, we heard several heartbreaking accounts of how containers spend several months in the ports just waiting to be shipped, resulting in loss of perishable goods or well-established foreign customers. If we are to reach our goal, if we are to attain our goal of $200 billion in non-oil exports, then we can neither ignore nor wish away this problem. We must confront it head-on and provide a solution. That is the reason we are today throwing a challenge to all state governments that have existing ports and are willing to partner with the Bankers Committee to establish not only a dedicated export terminal, but also the entire ecosystem of a world-class infrastructure needed for non-oil exports out of Nigeria. In recognition of the lessons we have learned from our rounds of consultation with non-oil exporters, we believe that a more formal, predetermined, and regular forum will be necessary to discuss the issues, challenges, and opportunities in this segment of the economy. That is the reason today we are announcing the introduction of a biannual non-oil export summit, the first of which will be organized during the first week of April 2022. This summit will bring together all the relevant stakeholders in the export business, including bankers, customs officials, Nigerian Ports Authority, the Nigerian Export Promotion Council, clearing agents, cargo airlines, shipping lines, logistic companies, insurance practitioners, and etc. This gathering will be one where for every complaint, problem or issue, challenge or difficulty that is presented or identified, there will be one or several agencies or practitioners that can articulate options for solving these problems. We believe that the ideas harnessed from such summit will be invaluable in helping us attain our ultimate goal of $200 billion in non-oil exports over the next 3 to 5 years.
Mr. Emefiele noted that the $200 billion Forex repatriation goal in the next 3 to 5 years might appear unattainable to some, but the bank remains resolute and determined to achieve it. If many less endowed countries are doing it, Nigeria can and will.
Nigeria is a rich nation of green land, rich resources, countless crops and commodities sufficient to feed and provide a means of livelihood for her teeming population. Chin up, Nigeria, the giant of Africa. Exciting times are here. We can be self-reliant and grow our economy if we work together to explore our potential. It takes a whole nation. Let us get involved. Buy Nigerian to grow Nigeria.
Thanks for staying tuned, and if you're just joining us, this is from the CBN. We bring to you weekly reports and expert analysis of the actions, policies, and economic initiatives of the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN. We've been telling you about the new Forex initiative RT200 Forex program announced by the CBN Governor, Mr. Godwin Emefiele, at Thursday's Bankers Committee Press Briefing in Abuja. Now we move on to the question and answer session that followed.
Team, my name is Samuel Michael Ogo. I'm a writer for Daily Trust newspaper. I have a question and some concerns. First of all, I want to congratulate you for this new and bold initiative. I would like clarifications. With this new initiative, are you now going to be paying less attention to the FPIs and rather drive this initiative, or you will have to drive the two of them side by side?
So on the question as to whether or not it is not an intention to undermine earnings coming from the FPIs, let me say this. I read in my report that there are 4 sources through which we generate earnings to fund our obligations, import obligations. Through revenue from crude sales, export, through revenue from FPIs or FDIs or sales, through diaspora remittance, and through exports. Unfortunately, more of our emphasis had to have always been on export earnings from crude. And when we begin to sneeze, particularly when crude price drop, we now begin to resort to FPIs and FDIs. We are not saying that we will ignore them. They are our partners, we need them. However, we are saying that we cannot continue to put all our hopes as a country on earnings from a source that we cannot control, or earnings from a source that comes in when things are good for us. But the moment things begin to suspect that things are not good, or reserves are dropping, or there's some panic here and there. In fact, that is the time when we think we would have needed them. That is the time they want to run away. We cannot, as a country, depend on that alone. We will depend on it, but we will not. We should not, as a country, depend on that as a source from which we earn foreign exchange to fund our foreign exchange import obligation.
I have just one question. Given the role banks are supposed to play in the actualization of these goals, how do you ensure that they truly key into the FX generation, the policy now, into the market, the foreign exchange market? Thank you.
Yes, what you are saying is, if we are encouraging people to export, what happens to local market? No, it doesn't happen that way. As long as we remain focused, what this should do is to say it creates market opportunities for us. And how do we support that opportunity? We support that opportunity by saying, go and take a loan. Is it Anchor Borrower Program loan? Is it a loan through the bank where we are importing plant and equipment? Is it all forms of loan? We have different types of intervention that you can benefit from. Whether you are a household, whether you are a micro, small and medium enterprise business, whether you are a large corporate, you can access a loan at 5% for 10 years with 2 years moratorium. I don't see how that will rub off local market. Rather, it is meant to expand the economy and create economic activity that will grow our GDP. In fact, even also help our price stability mandate. So this is all an overall approach to broaden and diversify the base of the Nigerian economy.
How does the new FX export regime accommodate those involved in online exports as well as sales from Nigeria, from sales of products from abroad?
Listen, this is another opportunity for our young brothers and sisters. You graduate from school. Yes, it's good for you to wait for a job. But if the job is not coming, what's wrong with you going to go into business of blending beans, dry it up, package it, and export it, and you make money? You can get small loans at 5%. When you export, the dollar comes in, you earn export proceeds, right? That is for when you are talking about finished goods. Or you are into IT development, software development and sale. Yeah? You sit in your house, you build your software, and a company abroad says he wants to use your software. He pays you $1 for it. Right? You sell the dollar into the market, you earn your dollar, your naira, and you also earn a rebate for it. Or you are into fashion design. Your fashion brand is so nice that Neymar Marcus wants it. Or which are the stores again? I don't know them. They ask for your brand online. You ship it. You earn $1. Then you are also engaged.
Nancy Magic, the executive producer of Online Nancy on AIT. In light of the fact that bad handling, poor handling, as well as
poor warehousing infrastructure has resulted in our products being rejected when exported. Are there plans really to improve the warehousing infrastructure? That's my question. Thank you.
We just repositioned and restructured Nigerian Commodity Exchange. They are going to have warehouses, first-class warehouses, whether it is with the cooling facilities, everything. They will be there. There will be warehouse receipts. They will be operated properly, like typical exchanges. They can do storage for you, any fee for storage. And from there, you can export. And your export will be in line with the quality and quantity that is required. You don't run into the problem of reject abroad. That is what we want to do. And we will seek everybody's cooperation to achieve this goal.
It's a wrap from the CBN this week. You can report unresolved banking issues to the CBN Consumer Protection Department through the email address cpd@cbn.gov.ng with relevant documents. Call the CBN Contact Center using the phone line +234 700 2255 226. Local call rates may apply. Send in your comments and contributions to the email address fromthecbn@gmail.com. Follow us on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter for updates and uploaded episodes of the program. We invite you to join us again next time. I am William Isidada. Stay safe and bye for now.